Just got here to the Walmart in Nebraska. It's like 15 minutes from where we're going to be hunting at, so we're get in there, buy some tags, and head over to the spot. Monday morning, we're just getting ready to go out. The lights start to no eyes on the place before. Front one's probably at about 30-35 yards now. I'd say 30. We're sitting right out here, we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's a tree here, but I don't think we have much cover myself, but they don't seem to have noticed us yet. If we get a buck do that same thing, we won't even have to put on any stalks. It's our evening sit. We're sitting right over a green field here. I'm not sure exactly what's in it, but on the other side of it, there's a lot of like taller grass. We're hoping the deer are bedding in there and coming out to that field. And that taller grass field goes the whole way out, back along there, and then on the apart from the 10 deer we have out there, we also have a coyote working over towards the buck. I'd love to put a VMAX through that baby. There's a big field there, them other deer. So the only animals that are on this side of the road are two nice elk. One behind them is really nice. One of the deer in the bottom cleared out. We located some whitetails over there. There was a couple of them. See, no, not there. It's over there. And there's a decent buck right there. And a couple other does then. There's another decent buck somewhere around there, but we lost him. So, hoping we can watch him bed down. From sitting up here in this spot, we learned two things. Number one, we were right, and they do bed down in there, and that crepe on the other side of that CRP grass on the other side of that field, and come out to the field. Number two, Nebraska has mule deer does, but it does not have any mule deer buck. So that's an interesting observation. We'll probably be back in here again tonight, just get another night of observation. We'll do some scouting here this afternoon and see what we find. But we got out of there really clean. I think we saw, how many was it? 10 elk, 10 bull elk,
10 elk
in the field.
11 deer in the field.
11 deer, and one was a real small rack. The rest I think were all spike buck. But tomorrow I'm not sure what we're gonna do. Probably go back up on that same observation point, and hopefully we'll be able to make a move on a deer in the morning. Over. There's an elk bedded right there in the shade. You probably can't see it real well. He's 600 yards away. Yeah. He forgot his release when we're a few hundred yards from the truck, back that way. And he pulls up his bow. Oh shoot, I forgot my release. So he's running back to the truck. Always put your release on your bow when you're done. And there's a little food plot right here by the side of them trees that we're sitting over. There's also a watering hole right down there. I think it water at. It's pretty hot today. We're both sweating hot. I feel pretty good about the spot. Not real good about our setup though. So I guess we'll see. Morning turned out kind of to be a bust. It's Thursday morning. It was really warm this morning, like probably got down to like 50. So it was really warm. Got within 30 yards of a bull elk. There was 11 in the field this morning when we got here, and then a few does around, but we didn't see any buck. They were, yes, there's 2 spike buck. I'm wrong. 2 spike buck. And a coyote and a few does and a whole bunch of elk. We got set up here. We got a field out here that's green. And this in here is all creek bottom. And right in here somewhere we have a decent trail coming out there. Didn't see as much sun in here as I was hoping we would. But we do have a steady breeze going that way. So, I don't know, I don't feel too good about this sit, but that guy does, so I guess we'll see. It's Friday, about 3:30. We just got set up here again at the spot where you can glass a lot. I think it's got a kind of cold front coming through here, so it has a pretty good north wind right now. I think it'll be a good hunt. We'll probably be back in here again the next 2 hunts yet, Saturday morning and evening, because it's just the best spot we found so far that we were able to get on deer. I think we have a good chance of making a play on one if we got one that comes out on our public land here where we can get on them. I think it'll be an interesting hunt. It's 4:30 and we've been seeing deer like crazy tonight already. There's been deer out in this field about ever since we started here this evening. It's whitetails. There was 2 buck. There's still, I think, 1 out there that's not too bad. And then if they're in this field, you're not going to be able to see it because it's 1.5 miles away. There's mule deer out there. 2 buck. First 2 mule deer buck we were able to see. The biggest one I think is just a 3-point, and then there's a smaller one with them too, but we were never able to get a very good look at that one, see how big it is. It's hard to see if they're that far away, but it's going to be a good night. There's a lot of deer coming out already. It's only 4:30. So last night I put a stalk on. There was a deer right out in there, and I ended up stalking up there, dropping back down. Moving over here, and I stalked right in up to them trees. Meanwhile, the buck I was after had worked out and walked right across. I didn't know that. And then there was a smaller buck that was out in the corner over here. He starts popping around behind me, so as soon as he gets over that little knob right in there, I haul back up towards him to try to get close within range. I had a call from Ivy about halfway back up here, or back up to that knob right there from the trees, and he said, "Get down." So I dropped down and looked behind me, and up on the hill back up there, right at the top of the green, there was a real nice buck and a couple doe. like out to the ears. He was pretty decent. I'm like, shoot. And then he had already seen me running towards this way, try to go within range of the other buck, and it never worked out. Then he went up by that tree up there, just bedded down, tried to lay low. We couldn't even see him after a while. I bed down thick stuff, but it was very close. If I had stayed down in them trees for another 30 seconds to a minute, that would have been right near where that buck popped out. It could have maybe made a move on him, or he could have came by, but that's how it works. So I went down over the knob, and till the time I got over there to where the point goes around, then there was already a small, like, 4-point maybe out on in the neighbor's land. And once they're out there, I can't move because, like, I can't get in close because you're open on that side. And so I waited, and then I think, then a nice basket rack went across, and that thing was smart. He went up to the fence and he bit on it, and he pulled it. Like, he bit on, like, took like 3 steps back and let go, and then there was slack there. He jumped over easier. Anyway, so he went across, and then I came up the hill a little bit so I get a better vantage point up near the top on the back side of that pointy spot, and I saw that there were still three doe and another nice little 8 or something like that. Decent rack. Anyway, so I'm like, all right, so I was like, with where they were at, they were heading towards the fence. I'm like, but I'll bet I can get down, and there's a little knoll right at the corner where that fence is on the corner. There's a little knoll right there, but I can come right up there, and I might not be within range, probably close. So I belly crawled up there, right to almost at the very corner post. Like, I was just a few feet away from that. There's 2 like them prickly green bushes. I was belly crawled right up behind, and then I'm looking, and I can't find these deer. But they didn't cross because I would have seen them over on the right side. And you know how that stuff's like deer head high and stuff.
Yep.
So I'm looking, and I found a little spike buck. I found a doe, and then they didn't get my wind. I don't know what they did, but I wonder if they didn't hear me. I made a little throat noise. It wasn't even very loud. I can't hardly believe they did, but right then, they all ran out. They were just over the knoll where I couldn't see them while laying down like 35 yards or 40. Like, they were right there. If I'd have known they were there, I could have tried to get a shot on them, but I couldn't see them. And they must have heard me or something, because they all of a sudden just teared off, and they crossed the fence and they stood out there. They didn't know what happened. I think 1 or 2 of the does even came back in. I don't know why. They blew like they were spooked, and they just stopped, looked around for a while and came back in. And then okay, we're heading in for the last hunt of the year, and we're going to that field where we put 2 stalks on last 2 days. And yeah, we're just going for broke. We're just jumping in. It's an evening hunt, and our wind is not quite where it should be, but we don't have much else, so we're going for a full sandy, and we're gonna sit in there basically on the ground in whatever thick brush or grass or whatever we can find.
It's quite impressive how high these grasses are. It's not really grass, more of like a twig stemmy thing. But there's a point that you can see maybe in some of our other videos from where we're glassing. That'll give you an idea where you're at, maybe. And the row of trees is right there. The deer are gonna come from that way. I'm pretty sure there's a draw right there. This morning when they went away, they went back up right in there, over the hill there. Come from that way, jump the fence. And then from there it's a gamble whether they're gonna go between me and the hill, or over that way, in that thick stuff over there, down there in that valley kind of thing. There's a lot of thick stuff. Or basically straight out the ridge right at me.
We just got back in the truck from the hunt. Last hunt of the night, or the trip. And we had at last light, well, first of all, we had one come in right below me, behind that thick stuff, and he smelled me. About 5 o'clock, the wind died to completely nothing. Probably 10 minutes before dark. 2 real nice buck, probably like 120, 120-ish class. Came up, jumped the fence, head straight towards me, and they got to within maybe, oh, I was watching them, they slowly just kept coming straight towards me. If I had just sat there, they would have run right over me. And they got to about 25 yards. And I drew while kneeling down behind my cover, and he heard me, he stopped, he looked up, and I waited for maybe 15 seconds, and he put his head back down. All 3 of them were down there feeding, 2 buck and 1 doe. And so I just got my bow ready, and I eased up to my feet so I could shoot over this brush. It's like chest height maybe, and my sight was not quite even clear in the brush. And they were out there just running like they didn't even put their head up and look around. Their heads were all down feeding, and all of a sudden, bam, they were out of there. So yeah, it could have been different. I think if it would have had a little wind, I think that we could have got some shots on them, but it was a good trip after all anyway.